Okay, back here again with Brian Knows Movies. This is the end of 2022. We talked about the most disappointing films, and I want to talk about some of the best films of the year. I started to make my list of the top 10 best films of the year, and I am going to share those a little bit later, probably through a post or something, but I thought the best films of the year are often not the films that I go back to over and over and over again. I'll give you an example. I love Schindler's List as a film. I think it's perfect. It's a top 10 film of all time for me, but it's so heavy, it's so dour, and it needs to be because of the subject matter. I do revisit it, but nowhere near as much as other movies that came out in 1993, like Jurassic Park. I got to thinking, would it be more interesting and more fun if we talked about what's fun? Let's talk about the most fun movies of 2022. So let's start with number 10. The Outfit. This is a movie that came out earlier this year that surprised me. Mark Rylance, he's playing this tailor who is mixed in with all of this craziness going on with the mafia, and he's stuck in his tailor shop as basically gang wars are erupting around him. The way that he navigates this, and then the twist happens, you actually realize some things about this character. This movie is a lot of fun. I can't wait to watch it again for the third time. If you haven't seen The Outfit, it's a smaller movie that came out this year. You probably didn't catch it. Find on streaming right now. Number 9, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Nick Cage can do no wrong ever. Even his bad movies, he's great in them. He gives 110%, and he picks things that he wants to do no matter how crazy they sound. And that's what a lot of the movie's about. It's about that persona, that aura of Nick Cage that we love so much, and he's playing himself. How is this not going to be great? And it really delivered. Now, it could have gotten really old in terms of the idea of Nick Cage playing Nick Cage, but it doesn't get old at all. A lot of that has to do with Pedro Pascal really committing to the role of this super fan who's also dealing with all of this drug lord stuff in the background. If you haven't seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I'm going to say that probably about all these films. You really need to see it. It's just a Nick Cage good time. Number 8, Ambulance. Now, I was completely out on Michael Bay after the Transformers series and franchise and how bad those movies were, but he comes back. I thought I was done. I'm like, I'll never watch a Michael Bay movie again. Then he comes out with Bad Boys for Life. And now Ambulance. And these films are just too fun to ignore. Jake Gyllenhaal, who likes playing these kooky, crazy characters, he's dialed up to like 100. He is completely out of his mind in this film, especially during the chase from the ambulance trying to get away with the money. Playing opposite of Jake Gyllenhaal is Yahya Abdul-Mateen, and he's playing it so straight and so serious compared to this out of control performance. It's so uneven that it's synergetic. I don't know how else to say it. It really works. It's very exciting. The car chases, the different set pieces that Michael Bay cares the most about. He gives it to you here. 10 out of 10 in terms of fun. Maybe not the best movie, obviously, but 10 out of 10 in terms of good action fun. Number 7, RRR came out of nowhere for me. I saw it on Netflix. I wish I would have caught it in the theater because of the visuals. They look great and look cheesy at the same time. I don't know how else to explain it than that. It is a bit long. You can break this up actually into 2 parts on Netflix if you wanted to, but man, you get everything in this film. You get action, you get crazy special effects, you get drama, you get heartbreak, you get musical and dance numbers, you get everything out of this film. It's done so well. I know Decision to Leave and other great movies came out internationally, but man, I really want RRR to win Best International Film because it's just too fun to ignore. Number 6, Violent Night. If you didn't think Violent Night was going to show up on this list, then you haven't been watching Brian Knows Movies. It is so fun, regardless if you like Christmas time or Christmas movies or not. You get the best of both worlds. You get the action. John McClane dialed up to a 10 in terms of the gore. You get David Arbor, who's like the most lovable Santa, but also someone you don't want to mess with because he's also a Viking or something. I don't know. The kid is great. The family's ridiculous. The plot line is dumb, but you love the campiness of it, and you never get tired of the gimmick of a action star Santa. I don't even know where to put this. I'm guessing it's an action comedy. It would be a horror thriller type of movie if it was more serious, but it's not. It's a Christmas movie. This is going to be one of my go-to holiday films every year from here on out. Number 5, The Menu. Ralph Fiennes is amazing as the celebrity chef that's become so jaded by the way that his life works, as well as the bourgeoisie that comes to these $4,000, $5,000 meals. Anya Taylor-Joy is the perfect cynic. It's so many great little characters around the margins of this film that makes it work. And the satire that's in this horror film is amazing. It's incredible. I felt some sort of way when I first saw it because, you know, I love watching Chef's Table on Netflix, which is obviously making some fun of here. I try to be a great home cook because of those types of things, and they really just brought it down a peg. Amazing, amazing work. Really needs to be talked about more seriously as one of the best films of the year. Number 4, Bullet Train. How did this film get such bad reviews? Why was it so poorly received? Guy Ritchie gave us everything we wanted. We're on a train and we have these violent set pieces and action scenes. We have this crazy mystery of where the box went and why can't we find it. You don't know what's going on with Brad Pitt's character. He's not a hitman, but he does these jobs that he hates doing. Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson are incredible. This is a coming out performance for an adult Joey King. She probably steals every scene that she's in. I loved everything about this film from start to finish. It's a lot of excess, but it's not too much. It's probably my number 1 action movie of the year. Number 3, Barbarian. This was a great horror year for film. There are so many great horror films that came out both in theaters but also on the streamers. Shudder has a lot of great things as well. Amazon Prime. We got a lot of horror content this year, and a lot of it was really high quality. Is Barbarian the best horror film of the year? I don't know. I think that it is arguable. I think if somebody wanted to make that claim, they could do so because it's so much fun. The twist that happens within the first 30 minutes completely takes the audiences off guard. The monsters, if you will, they're pretty scary. You fear for them, but you're also laughing as you go through this film. Barbarian is immensely rewatchable, and I think that's what gives it the argument that it could be one of the best, if not the best, horror film of the year. Number 2, Top Gun Maverick. I'll be honest, the first Top Gun for me was just okay. I thought it was a bit corny. I thought that the characters were just kind of shallow in one note, but it lives off the charisma of Tom Cruise. I was expecting something similar when I saw Top Gun Maverick. So in the middle of the corniness and cheesiness, I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of the same thing. And then all of a sudden, you know, I start to sweat a little bit as I'm watching these action scenes. I scoot up a little bit in my chair, and it's like, oh my God, I am on the edge of my seat. This is literally an edge of the seat film. I was so enthralled and captivated, especially by the ending of this film. If it gets nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, I think it's valid. I think it's a valid winner if it does win, because it's just done that well. But it shouldn't win because number 1, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Come on, man. Let's stop the arguments. Let's stop playing ourselves. Everything Everywhere All at Once is the best film of the year, hands down. You get everything you want from this. Stellar performances that are award-winning. A very unique but very well-written script. You have great sci-fi elements, and they keep to the rules of all the sci-fi elements. It's amazing and quirky to look at. It's funny, it's sad, it's endearing, it's heartbreaking. Because of its quirkiness, it might actually get overlooked at the Oscars and other award shows this year. But I think like other films, as the time goes on, we're going to accept this as being one of the best films ever made. Everything Everywhere All at Once is not only the most fun film of the year, it's the best film of the year. But anyway, what do I know? I'm just a guy that loves movies. Obviously, I want to know what your top 10 movies of the year in the comments, but I'm more interested in what you thought was a lot of fun. Is there no difference between the most fun films of the year and the best films of the year? I think so. Maybe you don't. Let me know in the comment section below. Happy New Year's. I'm loving doing this for you. Please subscribe. Please follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you at the theaters next year.